whose husband was arrested the night before the wedding. Put up their hand, please, now.
I can't quite believe it myself, but there you go. He told me after we'd got married on the way to the reception.
Right.
He said, because first thing I said to him was, you look a bit rough, because we did the traditional thing of staying in different places. He was in a hotel down the road with my mum, the kids, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling this very quickly. About early hours of the morning, fire alarms went off, and they didn't have any dressing gowns, so he's literally, like, in the foyer with a flannel. And fire alarm went off.
And yet she married him.
Yes. Fire alarm went off, and the guy behind the reception, he was... my mum and the kids were in the hotel somewhere, and my husband couldn't remember their room number. He was like, give me the room number, give me the... No, into the car park, that's the drill. Is it a fire? Give me the room... I need to know where my kids are. No, into the... Anyway, kicked off. You know those letter racks on a...
Yeah.
With, like...
Yeah. The leaf thing. Yeah.
He threw it. Anyway,
at the man or on the floor?
No, just on the floor. So that was that. Anyway, it was all fine. It was a false alarm. He went back to bed. About an hour later, 4 policemen arrested, thrown in a cell.
Oh.
With the flannel.
And he said I could...
With the flannel.
He said I could hear a milk float going outside the window. And he said I was banging on the cell door going, let me out, I'm getting married. And they're like, they all say that. I have been known... I am like, if someone parks outside my house, and by the way, anyone can park outside my house as long as they live in the nearby area, but there was this one person who doesn't even live in my road, who dumped their car there for 6 weeks, right outside my front door, and I was literally like a coiled spring.
Is it a public road?
Yeah. I was like, I don't want people coming and going, but 6 weeks it just sat outside my door. So every time I went out and did my shopping, I had to park somewhere else and traipse all my... anyway. But I was like that. It was literally about midnight, and I heard an engine start, and I thought, it's that car! And I was in my pyjamas, and I got up, got my car keys, went and got my car and parked it outside my house. I remember years ago, those computers, my newspaper office had computers, those sort of ones you see at boot sales now that are like that big with the green, the flashing green cursor. And we had a message system. We could message someone privately, or a global message would come up on the top of the screen. And, this is going to be good. This woman in the office had been a pain in the bum, so I private messaged someone to say so. Oh. Not her, someone else going, oh, God, wasn't she a pain in the butt? Pressed... And I suddenly thought, why is everyone looking at me? Because everyone suddenly went like that. And I thought... And I'd pressed global. Oh. I had to just apologise.
Global all around the world?
It's so British, though, isn't it? Because it's really funny, because people can do all sorts of things to us, but it's that sort of, I reserved these things. It's nice. And we get terribly British about it. And I remember doing that on a train. I got on a train with the kids, the dog, this, that. There were loads of us. We'd reserved seats, done all the right things. Someone's sitting in our seats. And I went, excuse me, we've reserved those. And they went, well, we're not moving. Oh, did I kick off?
Oh, did you?
Did I kick
You wouldn't
off?
like Jane when she's angry, believe me.
Because it's that injustice, it's that unfair thing. And another, just before Christmas, actually, I had a driving altercation with a woman, and we did a kind of a, no swearing or anything. And then just as she was pulling off, she put her window down and she called me a middle-class B.
Oh. It wasn't the B, it was the middle class you didn't like.
Do you know what? She heard my voice and just made an assumption. I don't know why, but anyway. And I was out of that car before she'd pulled up. I yanked open her door and I said, how dare you? And I said, I grew up on a council estate with a single mother. I said, I've worked very hard for everything I have in life. Don't you ever make assumptions.
Got a finger and everything.
But she was like that.
Yeah.
And then I sort of vaguely thought she started looking at me in a funny way, thinking, is that really nice, polite woman from the new school? Years and years and years ago, I met a guy through work, a gay guy. We hit it off, we just got on brilliantly. We moved into a flat together. We went on holiday together. We were in Key West, Mecca of all gay people. I had to go with him, yes, marvellous. Writing he was writing his postcards and he wrote down Nana George. And I said, oh, isn't that funny? My grandma's surname was Nana George. And he said, oh, very common in Wales, very common name. Got back home, rang me when he went back to see his mum, and he went, is your grandma called Mary Ann? I said, yes. And he went, oh my God, we're cousins. And we were sharing a flat already. Anyway, I had loads of photo albums on the bookshelves. We got them down. I said, well, here's my grandparents' wedding. There was his grandfather. So my grandmother and his grandfather were brother and sister. Wow. And his grandfather was in all the pictures that had been on our flat shelves all that time that he'd not seen. Another picture of his mum and my mum, aged 10, who were sort of like the best of friends then, with their arms around each other in the back garden. When they were 10, our grandparents had a massive argument. The family went like that, and no one ever spoke to anybody, and it just, you know, this big separation, until I ended up sharing a flat. How many people are there in London?
Incredible.
With one of the grandsons.
And did it bring the family together?
Yeah. So we had a big party. We went down to Wales. We got his mum and my mum back together. Did the picture again of when they were 10, and yeah, it was amazing. But I kind of think no one ever knew what the feud was about, and I think the repercussions 50 years later.
Yeah.
I was quite sporty at school, and I was in the trampoline team.
Oh,
as you do. That sounds better than it was. And we had a competition with another school, and everyone, you know, and you walk in and it's all silent, and it's a bit like a boxing ring. You've got the judges at the side, you know, sort of like that. And I did my first bounce and I farted. And then I did my second bounce and I farted.
Was it silent? Was the place
Completely silent. It was just like... I left the trampoline team, and no word of a lie, this summer was the first time I've been back on a trampoline. We were staying in a house that had a trampoline, like a sunken trampoline, and I'm like that. There's loads of us staying there, and I'm like, no one around. I get on there, especially with my pelvic floor now.
Did you fall?
Fine, no.
Did you wet yourself?
So maybe my phobia is over, but no, I'm not getting in a trampoline on television.
Remember years ago, I was dating somebody, I can't remember who it was now, and I kept saying, don't do anything with my birthday. I don't like surprises. I don't want a party. I cannot reiterate this enough. Blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'll just take you out for dinner. Turned up at the restaurant, loads of people there. And I left. I hated it. I just walked out through the kitchens.
Oh my God.
Well, I have been to Ladies' Day, and I went with a really good mate of mine who was the great newspaper columnist, Sue Carroll. And, yeah, we had quite a lot to drink, and I had a beautiful hat, and I sat on it.
I'd love to see
and it looked like an old airbag by the time I did it. I think I just left it in the mud
That
there
wasn't
somewhere.
you, that was just the hat.
Oh, I do not have a good history with races. We went to the Grand National, only time I've ever been, all the way up to Liverpool. They had a bomb scare. So me and Sue, again, we'd been drinking since midday, so we were quite squiffy, and we suddenly found ourselves outside the ground, and they're going, no transport whatsoever, and Sue, being a resourceful sort, there was a guy literally pulling out of his terraced house, because obviously his car was there, and she just got in his car and went, I don't care where you're going, we're coming with you. And he was a loo roll salesman from Preston, so we got driven to this factory in Preston and sort of got out looking like a complete pair of idiots in our full finery. Well, we then got the bus to somewhere with all the locals going, you're a bit dressed up for the bus, aren't you, love? I don't know what that accent was, by the way. Oh, my God, 8.5 hours to get home.
I was on a train also. I remember I'd been somewhere on a journalism job, and I had all my stuff in my bag, and was trying to and I pulled out my headphone wire, and a bra that was in there had caught on the headphone wire and flung across, straight onto the table on the other side of the couch with this bloke reading the paper. And you know those really grey bras that have been through with no elastic and all of that, and he just kind of went like that and gave it back to me.
No!
For the rest of the journey, he'd be reading his paper like this, and then every so often he'd just go...